Hello everyone, my name is Adam Caress and I teach in the music industry program at the University of New Haven in Connecticut. The paper I'm presenting today is called Teaching the Live Music Industry, a Hands-On Approach. I've had a very positive experience teaching the live music industry over the past 5 years. Great results, fantastic student engagement, and I'm excited to share with you about this course today. Before I get started, a little bit about me. I've worked in various aspects of the music industry for the past 25 years. Starting in my college years, I was a performing and recording artist for over a decade. I got to make a few albums and play hundreds of shows, all of which I really enjoyed. I then moved over to the business side of the industry, managing live music venues in Boston and then in Asheville, North Carolina for another decade or so. Along the way, I wrote for and edited an online music and culture magazine, and I published a book about the music industry called The Day Alternative Music Died, which was very positively reviewed by the MIA Journal when it came out a few years ago. Thank you very much. I began teaching 6.5 years ago in the music business program at Montreat College, just outside of Asheville, North Carolina. And I've been teaching in the music industry program at the University of New Haven for the past 2 years. When I was first asked to develop a course on the live music industry 5 years ago, I did what I usually do when I'm building a new course. I began looking for a textbook that would help me organize the course into topics that could be explored over the course of a 14-week semester. The goal being that by the end of the course, the students would understand the basics of how the live concert industry worked. But as any of you who have looked for a live concert textbook know, there are very few good options available. I would later come to see this as a good thing because it forced me to take a different, more hands-on approach to the course, which I think has been far more effective than a traditional textbook and lecture course would be. For me, a hands-on approach means that rather than learning how the live concert industry works from a textbook, the students themselves would plan and execute their own live concert event. And as I thought more about the course, I also believed it would be important for the students to stage a professional event featuring professional acts, rather than a battle of the bands type event featuring amateur acts. Not only would a professional event better mirror the kinds of events that typically take place in the live concert industry, I also believe that staging a real event would raise the level of professionalism among the students. And it has. And so I decided to set up the course so that the students would take on the role of a live concert promoter, booking the acts, securing a venue, and marketing the event to an audience. Eventually, based on my own experience promoting countless events at the venues I worked for, I developed a more detailed list of responsibilities that the students would take on as promoters of their event. I always go over this list at the beginning of each new semester, and I use it as a guideline throughout the course. So I'm going to go over with you the list of responsibilities I created for the course. First, the students would be responsible for branding the event. This would include developing a mission and vision statement for the event. For instance, would the event be a nonprofit event benefiting a charity or cause? Would the events feature a specific genre or style of music? Would the event be primarily for students on campus, or would it be marketed to a general audience? What is the name of the event? Would it be branded as a concert or a festival? And after answering all these questions, they would need to develop a logo and a color palette for marketing materials. Second, they'd need to find an appropriate venue for the event. Would it be better for the event to be on campus or off campus? What would be an appropriate setting for the type of music they were presenting? What size venue would be appropriate for the event, given the draw of the performers? How much does the venue cost to rent? And what equipment or staff is included in that cost? Is the venue available during a time frame that they're targeting? And if the venue's outdoors, what is the inclement weather plan? These are all the questions they need to answer in terms of booking a venue. Next, the students would be responsible for booking artists. Who will be the headlining act or acts? How many people can they draw to a show, and what's their cost and availability? Will the payment be structured as a guarantee or as a percentage of ticket revenue, or some combination of both? Who will the support acts be? Do they match the headliners stylistically? What is their draw, their cost, and availability? Are the artists represented by a booking agent? Do they have a standard performance contract? Or do we need to come up with one ourselves? Fourth, the students are responsible for production, which is typically defined as sound and lighting and related elements. What sound and lighting is supplied by the venue that they have booked? What other equipment might be necessary? If the event is a traditional music venue, not much additional equipment may be needed. But if it's taking place in a space not typically used for music, all of the sound and lighting may need to be rented. What specific needs or equipment are specified in the artist's technical writer? What's the budget for the production? An added production consideration for live stream events during the COVID era has been video equipment, camera operators, and the technological needs necessary to broadcast an event. Next, the students will need to find sponsorship partners for the event. The extent to which the students are able to find sponsorship partners can have a huge impact on the scale of artists, production, and marketing that they can afford. One thing I've explained to students is that sponsorship opportunities must be a value proposition. They aren't supposed to be donations. They need to create benefits for sponsors, brand exposure at the event or in the event advertising that makes it worth it for the businesses to partner with the event. I always recommend creating sponsorship tiers so that companies with different budgets can get involved. And before soliciting sponsors, they need to do a couple of different things. They need to see what the sponsorship policy is at the university, and run any potential sponsors by the university administration. They also need to create a professional sponsorship brochure that explains what the event is and what the benefits are for sponsors. All along the way, the students need to be doing accounting for the event and keeping track of the budget. At the beginning of the class, I tell them that, like it or not, the most important result of the concert will be how it performed financially. In the live concert business, you can put on the coolest concerts in the world featuring the most amazing artists. But if they don't make money, you're not going to be given the opportunity to put on many more concerts. So budgeting and accounting are really important. You need to keep track of both your projected budget and your operating budget. You need to keep all copies of receipts and contracts, and every event needs a reliable accountant. Marketing is also an important aspect of the live concert industry. Once the class has determined who the target audience is for the event, they have to determine the best way to reach that audience. I encourage them to explore traditional marketing outlets like print, radio, and physical posters. I also encourage digital marketing on social media and other online platforms. But I also encourage them to think outside the box. There are a million ways you can market an event. What are some unique ways that they can come up with to reach their audience? Ticketing is another important aspect of concert promotion. In the pre-internet era, ticketing was a far more difficult and laborious process, but there are now many excellent and inexpensive online ticket vendors. You want to make sure your ticket vendor is capable of offering tickets in all the ways that your ticket buyers might want them. Physical tickets, virtual tickets, will call, etc. Most ticket vendors are cheap or free to the promoter. They make their money in ticketing fees charged to the ticket buyers. This is fine, but you want to make sure those fees aren't excessive enough to discourage potential ticket buyers. Finally, there's event coordination, which encompasses everything that needs to happen on the day of the event. Event coordination can generally be divided into two categories: staffing and logistics. Staffing means making sure you have all the necessary personnel to handle day-of-show activities, such as security, ticketing or box office, stage crew, and hospitality. Some of these roles will require paid event staff, and some can be accomplished by volunteers. Event logistics are all the things that need to be arranged for the day of the event, such as parking, signage, artist hospitality, cleanup, etc. Most of these need to be arranged beforehand. So these are the main responsibilities the class will have as promoters for the event. And depending on the size of the class and the length of the course, I've assigned these responsibilities in different ways. For instance, at Montreat College, the live concert course was a year-long course, and there were 5 to 8 students in the class. Whereas at the University of New Haven, the live concert course is only a semester long, but I've had 16 to 20 students in the class. Each student at Montreat was involved in more aspects of the planning and execution of the event and had more to do, but they had twice as long to prepare. Whereas having a class of 16 to 20 students at UNH has necessitated breaking the students up into 3 or 4 working groups each handling different aspects of the planning and execution. At UNH, in order to keep all the students at least somewhat involved in all aspects of the planning, the working groups haven't operated in silos, making decisions independently of the rest of the class. Rather, the groups present ideas to the class, such as potential artists to pursue or branding concepts to adopt, which the whole class votes on. I've found that this helps keep the whole class aware of what's going on in the other groups, and having a say in the overall direction of the event also creates buy-in among the students. A typical class period goes like this. For the first 10 to 15 minutes, the students break into their groups, get on the same page with their group members, and decide what updates they want to share with the class and what ideas they want to present to the class for feedback. Then, once they've done this and are ready to go, we go around the class and each group gives a progress report and sometimes presents ideas for a vote and then gets feedback, both from me and from the rest of the class. This typically takes about 30 to 45 minutes. The feedback each group gets both informs their decisions and helps dictate what they will work on prior to the next class. After the progress reports, the students break back up into their groups for another 10 to 15 minutes to discuss what tasks they will complete prior to the next class, perhaps setting up a group meeting before the next class. And I emphasize that each group member should know exactly what their tasks are following each class. The role I play in the class walks a delicate balance. I provide guidance throughout the class, particularly at the beginning, but I see my role as more of a facilitator. I try very hard to give students space to come up with their own ideas and make their own decisions. I make sure to remind them throughout the class that this event will be as cool and successful as their imaginations and ambitions make it. This is their event, and I want them to take ownership of it and make it their own. My first year teaching this course at Montreat College, the students came up with the Dakota Music Festival. It was a day-long outdoor event on the Montreat College campus featuring 6 acts, food trucks, sponsorship booths, lawn games for the participants, and it was open to the public. Ticket sales were good, but mildly disappointing for the class. The event came up just short of breaking even. But the music was great and the campus response was very positive. The best part was the student reaction at the end of the show. By that point, they were over the moon with pride and a sense of accomplishment. All their work had paid off. They had started from scratch and built a successful live concert event, something I'm not sure any of them knew they were capable of at the beginning of the course. The Dakota Music Festival lives on. The students in the class the following year decided that rather than coming up with a totally new event, they would build on the momentum of the previous year. This is the kind of legacy that these students can build by having a successful concert event. They might be able to come back as graduates and attend an event that they planned when they were students at the university. Dakota Music Festival has become an annual staple on the Montreat College calendar, although sadly it was canceled this year due to COVID-19. The event my first live concert class at the University of New Haven had planned was also canceled in the spring of 2020 due to COVID-19. This has been typical for the concert industry. The students had booked a venue, booked the acts, and were just starting to market the event when the world shut down last March. We limped to the end of the semester going through hypothetical live concert situations over Zoom. Nothing suffered more from the sudden move to online learning than hands-on project courses. But by this spring, we were back in the classroom, socially distanced and wearing masks, and prepared to plan a virtual streaming concert event. I've had 2 separate sections of the live concert class this spring, both planning their own separate concert events. And as of right now in mid-April, both sections have their artists booked. Their streaming locations secured. One will be streaming from a local music venue. Another is streaming from a local recording studio. Both sections are excited, already feeling a sense of pride in what they've accomplished so far. And I'm confident by the time of the MIA Summit, both sections will have pulled off successful live concert events. I wanted to close by talking about assessment, which can be challenging for a course like this. The main assessment tool I use for this course is a corporate grade for the entire class based on the success of the event they've planned. The event success is evaluated according to first, its financial success. Did the event turn a profit? Second, the marketing for the event. Did the event attendance meet or exceed its goals? Third, event coordination. Did the event and all its logistics run smoothly? And four, event production. Was the event professional in terms of its sound, lighting, and other production factors? In addition to assessing the event itself, I also have wanted to make sure that we're able to assess the individual students. So in the current course format, each student gives both a midterm and final presentation to a faculty panel. For the midterm presentations, students are asked to give a 5-minute PowerPoint presentation demonstrating what they've learned, giving a status report for the event planning thus far, and a defense of the work they've completed. They then field questions from the faculty panel. For the final presentation, they give a similar 5-minute presentation demonstrating what they've learned, detailing their role throughout the class, and providing their takeaways from the experience of planning a live concert event. And again, they field questions from a faculty panel. Taken together, these tools have proven successful for assessing the students' performance in the class. That's all I have for today. I want to thank you all for listening, and I want to thank Mia for giving me this opportunity. My understanding is we'll have a Q&A after you've watched this. But I did want to say, if you or someone at your institution is looking to create a live concert course and has questions, please feel free to email me at acars@newhaven.edu. That's ACARESS@newhaven.edu. I'd be happy to help in any way I can. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.